One of the great initiatives at Wimbledon in 2019 is that the great British public and global public have an opportunity to get up close and personal with some world-class sportsmen and women, and we are delighted to be joined by none other than the Belgian legend David Goffin this afternoon, ladies and gents. Well, I don't want to put you on the spot, but we've had some great players so far, but that's the biggest applause we've had of the 4
Good, you're perfect.
days.
It's an honour.
David, first of all, before we go to our chosen interviewers in the crowd, great win over Jeremy. You seem to be coming into some good form.
Yes, of course. I played a great tournament on grass before the championship in Germany, and I played 2 really good matches. First 2 rounds were really good, straight sets. So I'm really happy the way I'm playing for the moment. Feeling great on grass. So hopefully it will continue like this.
Well, and you've got a big test coming up with Medvedev.
Yeah, of course. I lost the last time against him at the beginning of the year in Melbourne. But it's a different surface, different moment, different period of the year. I'm feeling much better, but we will see. It's going to be tough. He's playing well on grass, but it's going to be a good match, hopefully.
Okay. Well, enough of the formalities. You do so many of these interviews. We've got some questions from members of the public, and these young men and women do actually play tennis, so I'm sure they'll remember your words for many years to come. You can say you played a part if they end up winning Wimbledon. You can say you were there at the embryonic stages of the journey. Luke, your question first of all, please.
When did you start playing tennis?
I started playing tennis when I was 5. It was in my hometown, in a really small club. And as soon as I started, I enjoyed the sport and the tennis, and I continued till, I don't know, I will continue till, I don't know, until the end of my life, probably.
And you had a follow-up as well, because you're keen to learn something from this great man.
What's your favourite shot and why?
My favorite shot is probably my backhand down the line, because when you see it's coming from the racket, it's going out from the racket, you see straight away when it's a great hit and if it will be a winner or not.
He had a real twinkle in his eye when he gave you that answer. This is Alia. She's only 6. She plays for Oxfordshire, which is about 80 kilometres away, and sometimes plays her tennis in Abingdon. Alia, can you remember your question?
What is it like to play with friends?
So what's it like to play a friend, i.e. Jeremy?
Yeah,
yesterday.
Jeremy was the case, and I played. Pierre Gerber is one of my best friends on tour. We played 2 weeks ago, so it's never easy to play a friend. It's a different atmosphere on the court, and especially when you win, or even you lose, but especially when you win, it's you don't feel really great because you beat your friend, and it's not the same. But there's always a great normally sportsmanship, fair play on the court, and normally it's a good match.
And in those moments at the end of a match, do you make a conscious effort to keep your celebrations a little more muted because it is one of your best friends on the other side of the net?
Yeah, a little bit, and especially at the end when you win the last point, you're quite calm. You're really happy to win the match, of course, and to go through the next round, but you, like you said, you stay calm and you just feel sorry a little bit.
Is it hard to block that out whilst the match is in progress, or do you just click into a different mode?
No, you just stay in your bubble, concentrate, focus on what you have to do, and then when it's over, you just like I said, you feel sorry, and then you're happy at the end. Yeah.
Well, we had Jeremy giving loads of his time earlier this week, and he said you had a barbecue. So is he a decent chef, or did you end up doing the cooking?
I was the chef the last weekend, and he was my guest. So it was a great moment. Jeremy is such a nice guy. We spent a great moment here in Wimbledon, and we played each other yesterday. It was also great atmosphere on the court before and after. So hopefully we're still friends.
Yeah, I'm sure your friendship will endure, because long after you guys get really old, you've got to be talking about the old days, but maintaining your friendship together. Yeah. Right, we have Azan here. He plays for Draycott Club. His favourite player is Roger Federer. So after this, he's going to hot-foot it onto court 1. Azan, what's your question?
Do you ever feel like giving up?
Very important question for those of you gathered around. So many people here. Matt, just pan round so we get a glimpse of how many people here are listening to the answers of David. That's probably the most important question for any young player.
I didn't hear the end of the question.
Yeah, he simply asked, do you ever and have you ever felt like giving up? And I guess the really important element, if so, what makes you stop those feelings?
Yeah, it's sometimes during a match it's not easy. Sometimes you don't find any solution. You don't feel great. Sometimes you have a pain somewhere, and then it's not easy to fight with those thoughts you have in your mind, and then you have to fight. You have to try to find a solution to. Sometimes it's just to put one more shot in the court. Sometimes it's to run. Sometimes it's just to find something just to stay there, to stay in the match. And sometimes you have the feeling that it's not my day, but you have to find a solution. Yeah. Anyway.
I think, Azan, the key point there is you've just got to keep trying, whether it's schoolwork or whether it's tennis. And just a question on that from me. Do you have to sometimes remind yourself to enjoy what you're doing? Because, of course, you're lucky to do what you do, but it's underpinned with huge hard work, and with that comes pressure, and we've all got bills to pay. Do you sometimes have to think to yourself, do you know what? I'm playing tennis for a living. This is what the 5-year-old me would have loved.
Yeah, because sometimes it's tough. You're on the court, you have to wake up early, you don't feel great, you're on the court, and then you're like, yeah, my job is to play tennis, and I live my passion, and this is just unbelievable. We are so lucky. I feel so lucky every day to go on the court. That's my passion. I do what I love, and this is amazing. And especially here, it's my favorite tournament to be here these 2 weeks hopefully. And it's just we are lucky to do what we're doing now.
Yeah, but that's spoken with real grace. That's class. Ryan is an Australian who's now living here in London, and he's delighted to ask you a question. A little bigger than our other three interviewers. I'm not talking about your weight, Chief. You're perfectly balanced there on about 12 stone or something. Anyway, Ryan.
Dave, you've come back from injury, ankle injury, arm injury. How hard is it to come back from injury, and what do you do? What are the tips to come back?
It's not easy, and especially when you come back from like you said, from an ankle, you want to come back as fast as you can, and sometimes you lose your patience because you want to come back at your best level from the first shot you hit. You want to hit perfectly, and sometimes you lose your patience. But you have to be patient because it takes a little bit of time, so you have to stay calm. Sometimes the first match is not the best match you play, but you have to trust in the whole process after an injury, and then it always coming back. If you fight, of course, you have to fight with yourself because sometimes it's not going great, and you have to fight, and then it's coming back. But sometimes it takes more time than you would like, but you have to stay calm.
Key words to remember there for you, Ryan, and for all the young aspiring tennis players. I think you're going to be doing a few selfies. Listen, you're 28 now. I guess you're right in your prime, and you seem as though you still have a huge amount of passion for your tennis. You've spoken really eloquently about that. Yep. Do you think are you going to be like Federer? Do you think when you're tickling 38 you might still be playing? Are you just going to keep going as long as the body and the mind say yes?
Of course, why not? I'm feeling great. Of course, I'm 28, I'm feeling great, but we will see. Maybe in 10 years, hopefully we can speak in 10 years here, the same place, same question, and then I will tell you how I feel. But no, we will see. We try to play tennis as long as my body can, but I'm still enjoying, and we will see.
Well, it's been brilliant that you've given us so much of your time as you're still very much alive in this tournament. So many people gathered round. May we have one final round of applause for the Belgian legend, David Goffin.
Thank you.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci.